directions for your Jasper Johns inspired number. Remember your name and teacher code. You will take turns either using the light box or a window to get your number traced on your paper. Either on the window or the light box, you're going to place your number underneath your piece of paper. Then carefully trace around your number. You will use one item to create prints on your paper. So here I'll just demonstrate what each looks like so you know what to expect when you're using them. Just remember, no matter what object you're using to create your prints, you're going to gently stamp with it. You're going to create your prints on both your number and your background using two colors of your choice that will create a secondary color. I'm going to start with just one color and gently stamp with the fork because the fork is the item that I chose, and you're going to fill your entire paper and gently stamp all over and overlap the colors to create your secondary color. Although you are adding color to a lot of your paper, you still want some white to peek through for later on when we add our shadow around our number. And you'll repeat the same process on your number, except you're going to start with the other color. So I started with blue on my background, so I'm going to start with yellow on my 6, and I'm going to get a little bit of that blue paint off there. I still want some mixing to happen, but I don't want it to be quite as dark as my background. That way we create contrast when we eventually cut out our number and place it on top of our background. As you'll see, there's a little bit of mixing happening from the remaining blue that was on my fork, and that's okay. You can also add a little bit more of the other color if you need to create a little bit of mixing. At cleanup time, place one or both of your pieces on a piece of cardboard and carefully place it on the drying rack. If you use two pieces, be sure to use a larger piece of cardboard to save room on the drying rack. Throw out your extra paint and put away your printing supplies. Then when your background and your number are all dry, you're ready to cut them out and put them together. Remember, you need to decide if that was going to be a 9 or a 6. And if you have a middle part of your number, this is what you can do. Just gently bend over your paper and then make a little snip so that you can put your scissors through the kind of middle space in your number and gently cut around the inside of your number. Keep going and carefully cutting out your number next to that pencil line, and do your best to keep as smooth of a cut line as possible. Then, using very small dots of glue, you're going to stick your number down, So important that you don't put too much glue here, because the next step will be very frustrating if you have a bunch of glue squishing out all over from underneath your number. So little baby dots, I cannot stress enough, and then carefully turn over your number and as straight as possible, place it down. Should be as close to the middle of your background as possible. And then turn your entire paper over and rub the back of your paper to get that number stuck down and as flat as possible. Then you're going to use a black oil pastel to create your shadow. You're gonna go right next to that paper that you just glued down. So we're not actually marking onto our number, we're marking right next to it. Really take your time here so that your line doesn't accidentally end up on your number or spread out like we don't want. Then you will create a shadow appearance by blending out the oil pastel with your finger. Make sure that you're holding your paper secure with your other hand that is not doing the blending. You're almost going kind of back and forth and then pulling away from your number with your finger. Be gentle, and hopefully you didn't use too much glue, because this is where we could run into some issues if we have glue squishing out from underneath our number. Once you've completed your shadow, it will create this really neat appearance like your number is popping off of your background. Then place your freshly glued artwork on the drying rack.